Hello, friends. When we originally recorded this episode of the podcast, we had a really great segment in the second half of the show with our friends Justin, Sal, and the rest of the panel, where we were talking about all our most exciting announcements and hyped up new games from the last couple of weeks of showcases. Unfortunately, we had some technical issues that cropped up during the recording, and we lost most of that discussion. So this episode will consist mainly of the icebreaker, a quick game at the front of the podcast, and the debate, which thankfully we were able to salvage as best we could. There also won't be a real video. Unfortunately, that was another casualty of the recording. So enjoy what we were able to salvage. Apologies for the technical issues on our end, and thanks for listening.
Hello and welcome to the Great Game Debate podcast, where friends come together to talk about video games and our lives. I'll be your host, as always, Caden Barathea Lane. And joining me, of course, is the godfather of the debate himself, Jonah Gomez, joining us from his daughter's bedroom. How you doing, buddy?
I've been a lot better. I'm not the one recording the show this week. I sadly found out last night that I've got COVID, so I am quarantining myself in my daughter's bedroom so my wife doesn't get sick.
Well, sorry to hear that, man, but we really appreciate you still pulling yourself up by your bootstraps and showing up for the podcast. You the man.
Oh yeah, I'm trying.
And of course, we are also joined by our man in the closet, Wes Bates. How you doing?
I'm sweating it out a little bit just because
really?
Jonah gave me like a crash course in recording the podcast, like an hour and a half before we were supposed to start. Like, I don't think it's gonna work. I can't get to my computer, so he helped me like set everything up, and I'm hoping that this turns out okay. But if the audio or the video quality sucks, you can blame me this week anyway. But to get my mind off that, since we have a special guest returning who hasn't been on the show quite a while, in his honor, I have some Red Dead Redemption useless video game trivia. So just a couple of quick snippets. One of the areas in Red Dead Redemption 2, I believe it's called O'Crea's Run, is named after one of the actors in the game who originally did the VO and all of the mocap for the character Uncle. But unfortunately, he passed away before the game was done. And they had to replace a lot of his VO, or most of his VO, with a second actor. But they did name one of the areas in the game after him in his honor, which I thought was very cool. And you can still hear his original voice. I guess the only part of his VO that they kept in the game was the song from the building the cabin section at the in the epilogue of the game. So the parts where Uncle is singing in that part of the game apparently is the original VO for that character.
That's I didn't know that, so that is news to me, and that's rare. I hear new things, so
right on. So glad I told you something that you didn't know.
Very, very cool. And of course, that guest who loves Red Dead that Wes was alluding to is none other than Justin himself, a returning guest. Pleasure to have you back.
Thank you. Pleasure to be here. I don't know why you think I love Red Dead. I don't understand.
Maybe the audio viewers might be confused.
And I'll be honest, I didn't even bring or wear this shirt on purpose for the show. I just grabbed something today going out and about. So it just all worked out. So, but yeah, thanks for having me on again. It's always a pleasure to see you guys and see you guys on the interwebs and everything. So great to be here.
Very cool.
Yeah, welcome
and
back.
Also joining us from Wes's closet is Sal. How you doing? Another returning guest.
Hey, how's it going? For those that are watching, just know that I'm in the mirror world of Wes's closet, kind of like a Tenet-like environment. Time's moving slower or in reverse, and I'm actually getting colder. It's the exact opposite. It's crazy.
Incredible. Well,
Yeah, but thanks for
That's
saving me all the way
a
from this dimension.
really nice looking closet, though, Sal. Like,
There's some great stuff. There's some great stuff.
Yeah,
I'm gonna pop on this final when it gets cooler.
Well, Justin and Sal, I appreciate both of you showing up to be on the show. Unfortunately, Stephen couldn't make it, so we appreciate you, stepping in his honor. And with that, we'll roll right along into the icebreaker. I hope you all brought. I stopped by the Ishimura Planet Cracker class vessel and grabbed your plasma cutter because it's time for the icebreaker. And Wes, I'll let you take it away.
okay, so kicking off the icebreaker this time, we have I put together. We'll throw a community question in here as well, but we'll do that after this real quick thing. So I thought it would be fun just to do a really quick like would you rather type game. Normally we do the games at the end of the show, but this the structure for the show today is going to be a little different than normal. So we're gonna do a little game kind of at the beginning, just to ease into it a little bit. So I'm gonna ask you guys some questions, and you just need to tell me like, would you rather do this or this? All right. Would you rather get a new Kojima Metal Gear game or a new Splinter Cell game?
Oh man,
Is this round robin or we just jump in or?
Yeah, however you want to do it. I mean,
well, I'll let you guys dogpile me. I'm like that guy who's never played Splinter Cell, just couldn't give less of a crap. So it's like Metal Gear all the way. So let's get some Splinter Cell rep in here. You gotta.
While Caden is on that spectrum, it's no questions asked. New Splinter Cell, easy. That's like the easiest answer so far. Like, yeah, Splinter Cell. Sam Fisher's my boy.
okay.
Splinter Cell, 2 for Splinter Cell.
What do you think, Justin?
I'm sorry, I love Metal Gear, so I'd take another Metal Gear because I just have to.
2 for
But
2.
I do love Splinter Cell, but we have to
Let
pick.
me ask Jonah: does Sam Fisher have the ability to put down a porno magazine to distract soldiers? Like, is that a feature in Splinter Cell?
The PC version, I'm sure you can mod it in.
Sam Fisher doesn't have to do that. He throws a little gadget that plays tunes and it distracts guards. So
okay, fair enough.
Sam Fisher has funding.
Right, exactly.
Yeah.
All right.
Sam Fisher's not a creep, maybe? I don't know.
Wait, but can Sam Fisher?
Solid Snake's a good improviser, I guess.
Can Sam Fisher say Metal Gear?
Kept you waiting, huh?
What?
Well, I'm sure if they put the lines into the game, yeah, he could, but he doesn't. So,
all right. Let's move on. We have more to cover here. Would you rather spend a night in Dracula's castle in Castlevania or a night in the Spencer Mansion?
Oh man, I feel like I have a better chance of surviving against the horrors of the Spencer Mansion than Dracula's castle. It's just like you walk into a room and like 5 animated armors just start raining axes on you, and it's like no. So give me a handgun, I'll survive the Spencer Mansion. Hopefully.
you know what though? Yeah, the thing about the Spencer Mansion is there's actual safe rooms in the Spencer Mansion. So I mean, with magical teleportation boxes.
There's save rooms in Dracula's castle as well.
But do they have a nice clickety clackety typewriter in there?
There are no typewriters as far as I know.
Deal breaker.
I feel like I could more easily avoid Spencer monsters with my human body than Castlevania monsters with my human body. You know what I mean? I feel like even if I had like a concussion and had actual tank motion, I'd still be like, okay, I could just walk kind of hastily away from this guy.
You could move
the thing that would slow me down would be, the thing that would slow me down would be the slow loading between doors if I'm PlayStation 1 Spencer mentioning it.
Yep. What do you think, Justin?
Yeah, there's a couple of things that thought here, but I've played through Resident Evil so much that I would know the Spencer Mansion like the back of my hand. And so most of the creatures are slow and stuff and I can do a gun and all that, but I'm not a Belmont and I don't have a whip and Dracula can just come by and pick me up and I'm gone. So I have to go to Spencer Mansion.
It's a great point. The fact that you already know the layout of the mansion, so you could get through it easily. So that's a good point.
Well,
all right.
Also to add to that, I'm not a Belmont thing. It's like really we have no reason to go there. it seems like the Castlevania threat is really kind of localized. He's never gonna like take over the world. It's like that like region. He's pretty reasonable for a villain.
Yes. Just don't go there.
Yeah, just don't go there.
All right. Would you guys rather fight a Rathalos from Monster Hunter with the Master Sword, or Ifrit from Final Fantasy with a Leviathan axe from God of War?
Wow. Well, a Leviathan axe, ranged filth and ice, targeting Ifrit's weakness, so it's just too perfect for me. As much as I love to go toe to toe with the Rathalos.
I literally made a Nifrit reference earlier, and I love him to death, but he's getting the axe.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm actually gonna agree with Caden on this one. I think although I love the Master Sword and I've got it hanging up in my living room, I'm gonna have to go with the Leviathan axe. It has like some amazing properties to it that just make it better than the Master Sword.
Mm-hmm.
Nice.
Does the Master Sword have like an extra attack if you're at full health?
It does shoot a laser beam, but it's really extremely weak. So.
I'm currently not at full health, so that does nothing for me.
I have to fight the Rathalos perfectly and not get hit at all. So,
yeah. What do you think, Justin?
I also got to go with the axe because let me tell you, it felt so good to throw that thing and pull it back in a video game. Imagine how good it would feel in real life.
Yeah.
The real question is, do I get to punch dudes like crazy with my fist when I throw the axe like Kratos? Because if so, it's just going to be my weak little flimsy arms flapping and smacking the guy instead of like.
I'm also wondering, will it come to my grip, or am I going to have to kind of calculate a little bit? Because I'm thinking of that scene from Mad Max Road Warrior where the guy tries to catch the boomerang and then brings down like nubs.
Yep.
So, I mean...
a little sketchy.
Double-edged axe, I guess.
Yeah, got to be careful on that return catch. All right, number 4. Would you rather make out with Donkey Kong for 5 minutes or get shocked by Pikachu for 1 minute?
Oh, well, one of those is life-threatening, so...
Yeah, Donkey Kong is life-threatening, right?
Yeah,
That's the one.
yeah, exactly.
You don't want that... what is it?
There not a
monkeypox?
Both?
I feel like in this scenario, both parties are doing it against their will. Like Pikachu doesn't want to shock me, also, and Donkey Kong wouldn't want to kiss me.
Yeah,
you never know, Sal.
That's true.
You are Sly Funky Monk, you know.
Yeah,
so...
I'm gonna have to go with Donkey. I'm gonna have to go with Donkey. Rep the 8 Brigade.
The new funky mode.
See what that Funky Kong's all about.
Yeah, what'd you think, Justin?
Still pondering.
Yeah.
I guess I'd go with Pikachu shocking me just because I don't know where the Donkey Kong's mouth has been.
Yep. All over a bunch of bananas.
It's been all over Sal. That's where it's been.
Just admit you don't have the expansion pack to hang with them.
I don't. Nor the bongos. I have no bongos.
Yep.
I'm sure he's got bongos. Donkey looks like he's got cake. Let me tell you.
All right, let's move on to the next one. All right, so this is one of these franchises must die, and you get to choose which. Mega Man or Kirby?
Ooh.
Rest in peace, Mega.
Mega Man's already dead, though, right? So.
yeah, in some ways.
I mean, if I had the ability to pull the plug on a Kirby to get a spiritual successor to Mega Man Legends, I'd do it if it was within my power. So, what do you think, Justin?
You know, I want to say I'd pull the plug on Kirby, but I have played more Kirby games than Mega Man in the last 10 years versus the earlier years of my life. So I think I'd pull the plug on Mega Man.
Yeah.
All right. What do you think, Jonah?
I would see. I haven't really played either. Mega Man just never interested me, and I guess the Kirby games haven't either. I was gonna say, well, Kirby's mostly in Smash Bros, but I guess Mega Man's there too now.
Just answer one simple question, Jonah. Do you like to suck or blast?
I was waiting for the suck.
Do you eat or blow?
All right. Quick answer. We got more. Mega Man or Kirby?
We're gonna We're gonna blast off Mega Man.
Okay. All right. Tails or Ease?
Ooh.
Which series needs to go?
Ease. Sorry.
You know, I hate to say it because I played a bunch of Tales growing up, but like the last like 3 Tales games I played, I didn't finish, and the last 2 East games I played, I did finish. I don't know. They've got that open exploration, running up buildings, gliding, real time combat, seamless on the environment. I don't know. I've been converted. I'm an East boy now.
All right. Sal?
I'd probably go Ease. I had 3 as a kid on SNES. It was like one of those lucky, like, older cousin gives you a box of random game situations. Fun game, but I haven't played any of the newer ones. I've only kind of seen peripherally both of the games. Ease is probably more my alley. I like the action RPG type stuff.
So you would,
I have plenty of turn-based games to get to. And I'm
so you would
Tales
get rid
is
of Tails then?
I'd get rid of Tails. Sorry,
Okay.
yeah.
All right.
I keep my boy Ease.
All right, Justin?
Well, Tails isn't turn-based, but still, I understand the love. Honestly, I think I would, though, even though I love the Tails stuff, I think I would get rid of Tails because I think Tails has had way more entries than Ease. And most people, when you say Ease, they're like, huh? They don't know it. They don't know it. And Tails is like known, so it's like, let's get some new blood in. Let's get some new people. So that's my reasoning.
Very cool.
All right. Sonic or Star Fox?
Wow. That's a hard question.
Well, Star Fox is pretty much dead already, so I guess Star Fox.
Well,
I'd get rid of Sonic.
I would in the past have said I'd have faith that if they brought back Star Fox, it would actually be good, whereas they keep making Sonic games and they're always terrible. But the last Star Fox game we got was Star Fox Zero, which was terrible. But give them maybe a second chance, they do better, So I'll rep Star Fox.
Yeah, I'm pro Star Fox. And I'm assuming getting rid of the other will just like the universe will allow the quality of the remainder to go up, right? That's the rule of this question.
Exactly how it works.
All right, I had a couple more, but we're gonna keep moving on because I have some more interesting ones. Would you rather have lunch with Tifa Lockhart or dinner with Aerith Gainsborough? This is your Tifa. All right.
Is Aerith technically a legal adult?
I mean,
I don't know if I want to. Yeah,
it's just dinner. It's just dinner. We can take a step back.
We'll
look. This is this.
We're
talking about a meal here, Caden. Where's your mind going?
Yeah. What meal are you thinking of?
I don't like this question anyway.
Hands down.
Move along.
Caden's already thinking about dessert.
Move along.
Would you
I'm
rather...
just wondering why Barrett's not on the menu.
I mean, in the name of fairness, it should be.
All right. Would you rather fly around in space with Samus or go for a horseback ride with Geralt?
Oh, I don't. Space is a dangerous place.
Samus.
Anything could go wrong. Nah, I'm jumping on the back. Especially if this is
played The Witcher. That's
it's a good point, but
like just as dangerous.
But Samus doesn't look like Henry Cavill, so yeah, I'm going horseback with the Witcher.
You kidding me? I'm hanging out with Samus in space. I feel like she'd be so annoyed by like anyone being there that I'd just be alone on a spaceship while she's out adventuring. Just be like, oh, this is so cool.
Like, don't touch that.
I promise I won't. But is there any cool space food I could get in on?
What do you think, Justin?
You just like on her ship while she's away. You're putting on different suits. You're like,
yeah, I get turned into a ball and I get stuck there until she comes back.
Help me! Carol, all to myself.
I love Geralt, but man, I don't know. I just that world intimidates me way more than I think Metroid does for some reason. I don't know. Maybe just because I think Samus can just she feels like she can just take on anything and everything, and Geralt does too. But then there's just the war factor, and yeah.
All right. Would you rather fight off the Covenant with Master Chief or scale a cliff with Nathan Drake?
Ooh. Are there climbing harnesses involved?
I I assume it's Drake-like climbing.
Drake-like climbing, yeah.
I
So
assume
would we have stamina that's like infinite? Would we? Because
It's up to
little tiny T-Rex
interpretation,
arms.
Sal. It's up to interpretation.
I basically like get 1 foot off the ground. I'm like, whew, well, that was fun. And then I go
Yeah.
home. So I'll go with Nathan Drake.
I think the Nathan Drake one would be more fun and less dangerous, but then again, it is Nathan Drake, so anything is possible. Yeah, I'm gonna go with Nathan Drake on this one.
Justin.
Oh, I'm gonna go with Nathan because I mean, who else can almost fall to their death and still make like poop jokes? I mean, you just can't beat that. So, but the sense of treasure hunting too is just I can't beat that.
You know, I'm gonna have to go against the grain and go with Master Chief. Just something about climbing with Drake. I feel like I'm gonna eventually get shot at, then a bus is gonna like fall down the cliff, then I'm just gonna be like constantly stressed. Whereas at least I feel like I'll have a fighting chance with the Master Chief taking the lead. And I'll just work on the grunts. They talk while they're fighting. They're constantly giving away their position. Master Chief all the way.
All right.
All right.
Okay. Would you rather hug a Moogle or rub Amaterasu's belly?
Ooh.
Hug a Moogle.
Moogle. I only know what that is. I don't know what the other one is.
Amaterasu is the wolf from Okami.
Yeah, who's a literal
horrible
god.
But
So
the Moogles are. Oh.
hopefully, if I give her a good belly rub, she'll like bless me with her god powers somehow. Whereas a Moogle really has nothing to offer, so I'll go with Amaterasu.
Yeah, damn. I was gonna stick with
I'll go with
what I said, but damn.
I'll go with Amaterasu.
Very cool.
All right, last one.
Good girl.
Would you rather spend an hour hanging out with Waluigi or an hour hanging out with Tingle?
Waluigi.
Tingle so I can sue him later.
Right, yeah. Tingle's gonna try to sell you an NFT of a map or something. So yeah, let's just play some tennis with Waluigi.
Tingle's up to stuff. I don't trust them.
We got Justin's answer. Waluigi.
I think he said Waluigi.
Waluigi.
Yep.
We're hanging out with Waluigi right now.
Yeah, basically. All right. Well, that's the end of the Would You Rather section. So, Kate, I'm going to kick it back to you. Do you have a question from our community?
I sure do. So let's see. This one comes in from at DigiKeyXP on Twitter, I think. So thanks for sending in the question. What is one of the best games that you guys played but is not mainstream or of popular demand? What was so great about it? I'll kick this one off. I've been playing a game recently on the 3DS. I really don't know how popular these games are or if they're more popular in Japan, but it's the Etrian Odyssey games. They're like old school dungeon crawlers, like Labyrinth map making games. And I don't know. So I was literally looking through my 3DS games, just opening cases, and like I picked up like my case for Ocarina of Time 3DS, and I opened it, and Etrian Odyssey just fell out. I literally forgot it was even in there. You know, I got it for like $10 at a used game store caseless a long time ago, so I threw it in, and it's just been hitting for me. Just just going through one square at a time, going on the lower screen, making my own map. It's just cozy. So check it out, Etrian Odyssey 4.
I can kind of piggyback off that. I've been really enjoying Shin Megami Tensei Strange Journey on 3DS. Which I guess is that similar style where like it maps out on the bottom screen. Now, just now what you said, I don't know if I can actually write on the map. I should probably go back and look at the tutorial and see if I can be taking notes.
Yeah, I expect you to. That'll probably help you out. But yeah, Etrian's gimmick is like you are literally making your own map. So
got it.
Cool.
Yeah, fun games, and they surprised me. I think with the 3DS shutdown, those games have been on like my radar. You know, making sure I get everything that you know.
Yeah, definitely.
Anyway.
How about you, Justin?
And crawlers be fun.
I'm just I've played a lot of different games that have hit me that aren't like maybe super well known or popular, but the one I've just played recently and I'm still playing is a indie RPG retro style called Rise of the Third Power. And it's very Super NES like retro style pixel graphics, but like attacks and stuff have cool 3D effects and things, kind of reminiscent a little bit of say like Octopath Traveler or whatever.
Yeah.
But I'm not too far into it, but it was like it immediately hooked me. Like I was like, I like the battle system, I like the characters, I like the look, the music, it all is just ringing pretty true. And I don't know if any of you guys have played There's another older RPG called Arafel.
Yeah, I was just gonna ask.
Yeah.
That's tied into RFL, right?
I've played
Yeah,
it.
so
Like,
it's the same guys, but it's the next game they decided to make.
Nice.
So
heck yeah, I gotta check that out. Arafel is pretty cool.
RFL, huh? Looking it up now. Looks nice.
yeah,
Yeah.
those are cool games. So yeah.
Awesome. What do you think, Wes?
Yeah, I was trying to think because I mean, what's like mainstream versus not mainstream? Because I play a lot of indies, but
Take it as you will.
they tend to kind of, I feel like they tend to usually kind of like gain a name for themselves to some degree. I really enjoy the SteamWorld series.
Yes.
Most of those games are awesome, especially the SteamWorld Dig games. Dig 1 and Dig 2. Dig 2 in particular is like, I feel like probably one of my favorite indies ever. It's just so good.
Western theme too.
Yeah, and Western themed, of course. It makes it even better. But I would really recommend those games. The one that I played most recently was what was it? It was the kind of card-based RPG SteamWorld.
Oh yeah, SteamWorld Quest.
And that one fell a little bit flat for me, comparatively to some of the others. But generally speaking, those SteamWorld games have a pretty high watermark for quality, and they're very good. And even Quest, I feel like it was a good game. It just was kind of a slow burn in a lot of ways, and but yeah, I definitely recommend SteamWorld Dig 1, SteamWorld Dig 2 if you're looking for like a really good Metroidvania type game with solid platforming, really good aesthetics, and Western motif.
Heck yeah. Jonah, what's your answer?
So this one's a shout out to our saucy Aussie himself, Steven. I'm gonna have to go with Banjo-Kazooie Nuts and Bolts. The game doesn't get enough credit. I absolutely love that game, not for the Banjo-Kazooie nature of it, but the building of the carts and the planes and the helicopters in that game is just so fun, and to open your creative mind and build all these different machines, and you can build like mechs and tanks and stuff.
What console was it on?
It was on the Xbox 360. And I can already tell Steven is just like punching the wall right now because it is the best Banjo-Kazooie game out there.
That's the thing. It's really not like I think naming it Banjo-Kazooie is what was its downfall because it has a lot of awesome creative stuff in it. Like
yeah,
you said,
it really
everybody
does.
was expecting one thing and they got this, which causes a rift. So.
Very cool, very cool. Well, again, thank you to our community for sending that question in, and we'll move right along into our debate. And I believe Wes will be taking over judging from Jonah since he's not feeling 100%. So I'll turn it over to you, Wes.
All right, so today, like Caden mentioned, I will be heading the debate in Jonah's place, and we are going to be talking scary games. Let's talk a little spookiness in our debate. We are going to throw up two games that our debaters consider the scariest in the horror genre. Today we have Justin representing Outlast 1 versus Caden representing Dead Space 2, all-time classic. So, with that said, we have our typical debate rules. We will start with the opening statement. Each side will have 2 minutes to make their opening statement, followed by 2 minutes on each side for a rebuttal, and 2 minutes for a closing statement. I will remind you that you also have a assist trophy, who will be me. Anytime you would like some support, just shout out for your assist trophy, and I will come on and support your game for 30 seconds, or your side of the argument for 30 seconds. You can use that at any time. So, with that, any questions before we get started?
Yeah.
Go for it.
Can Caden go first?
I sure can.
As the guest, you have the option to decide who goes first. So if you'd like Caden to start, then absolutely.
Yeah, I'm nervous. Yes, go.
I shall blaze the trail.
All right, Caden, are you ready to debate?
Yes,
got
sir.
my timer ready, guys.
And Sal's got time. So, Sal, you want to count him down?
Yeah, we'll give you a 3, 2, 1.
All right, Dead Space 2. I was it's kind of been a while since I played this, so I decided to buy it, download it on Steam, start replaying a little bit of it to, bone up before the debate, and I just got hooked and just plowed through the whole thing, couldn't stop this weekend. And man, does this game hold up. Like I'd really put it like shoulder to shoulder with like the horror greats like, Resident Evil 4, Resident Evil 2 remake. I just forgot how amazing it is. The amputation mechanic still holds up. You think about saving ammo in like Resident Evil games, for instance, and you're just like repetitively hitting enemies with your knife until they die. It's super boring. But to save ammo in this game, you literally shoot the blade-like bone protrusions off your monster enemies and grab them with, kinesis and impale them against the wall with it. And then you run up and stomp their corpse to get ammo and health out of them. And man, this game it has, I think, one of the all-time greatest weapons of all time that people don't talk about enough, which was an addition to the arsenal from the first game, called the Javelin gun. And this thing pins enemies to walls. Its alt fire then causes the javelin that's pinning the enemy to electrocute them. And then after you upgrade it, after it electrocutes them, then it explodes and pretty much kills anything in the game with that combo. Just oh so good. The detonator, you basically become the bad guy
seconds.
from the Saw movies and set up your own madhouse of trip lasers to explode your own traps as enemies are coming after you and you're sawing them up with a saw blade. Man, this game just so good. It's doing psychological horror and it's doing, traditional monster gore horror, which not a lot of games do both, and it does both well. So yeah, that's Dead Space 2. Thank you for your time.
Wow,
All right.
2 minutes on the dot. You should do stand up. The clubs would love you for.
Nicely done, Caden. Nicely done. All right, Justin, are you ready to give your opening statement for Outlast?
Yes, I'm ready.
All right, Sal.
All right, 3, 2, 1.
All right, so Outlast. It is probably considered one of the scariest independent horror games ever made. And of course, it's in first person, which either makes it much more scarier or you get seasick, depending on your preference. But imagine, if you will, a game that you're a average Joe. You're someone going in to do an investigative work, and it's in an old, creepy mental institute. I mean, that's just terrifying in and of itself. But unlike Dead Space, you don't have any weapons to defend yourself in this game. Basically, you hear about games that are walking simulators. I call Outlast a running simulator because you do a whole heck of a lot of it. But not only is the horror from the monstrosities that are in the building, you're also seeing, human anatomy that maybe you don't want to look at, or maybe you do. And things like just gross environments, like people that clearly are in a state of disarray, and you don't know who's friend or foe and who's going to help you or hinder you in these games. And of course, a lot of horror games usually do have jump scares in them, but Outlast, it's kind of always one of those, does it have more jump scares? Does it have less jump scares? I mean, you're almost always on your toes because, again, it's a game where you don't really fight back. Instead, you must hide. You must, figure out, how can I get past this person? And then next thing you know, you're going past them and just horrible stuff happens. And that's kind of how Outlast is in a nutshell.
30 seconds.
It's horrible things happening to a person with very little of you being able to do much of nothing but hide, run, and seek shelter and hopefully survive, which in the terms of survival horror, that all fits right perfectly in. So I feel like Outlast is pretty fairly disgusting, but in all the right ways.
Get 10 more seconds.
Oh, and also I think there's poop in the game, so that just makes it gross even more. So who wants, yeah.
Whatever's the opposite of the cherry on top, you just did that.
Incredible.
All right. Thank you, Justin. That was a great opening statement. Moving on to our rebuttal. Caden, are you ready to rebut against Outlast?
Yes, but I will be leading off with my assist trophy. If Sal, you want to add 30 seconds to my timer for Wes, and then I'll just roll in after.
So just 30. Are we doing 2 minutes for the section?
It's
Or
so
is
I
it-
have 30 seconds to talk as his
Got it.
as his support trophy, and then he will roll right into his 2 minutes.
Got it. So
So
start the
you'll need
timer
to
after your 30.
so start timer at 30 for me, and then start it right away for Caden. He'll roll right into his. Okay.
Okay, and you're keeping an eye on your 30 seconds on your end, or do you want me to wave you?
Usually the person doing the time does both, but I can do my own. That's fine.
Oh no, I just didn't know if
All right,
you wanted me to over signal.
I will do my own. Thank you.
Okay.
Ready? All right, here we go. All right, so the thing about Outlast is I feel like they're going more for shock value than for scares, and that's really evident in the amount of Wang that is shown in this game. That's honestly probably the scariest thing that you'll see is just psycho penis everywhere in your face. It's really disgusting and gross, and it's something that's really the thing that's been keeping me away from this game is it's just the sheer amount of psychopathic nudity in this game. I really don't want to see it. Go, Caden.
All right. I think that the problem with Outlast is it's a great horror experience. I don't know if being a video game serves it well. I think you get almost the same experience if it was just a movie. If you compare it to Dead Space, it's a great horror game, but it's also just a great game with really great gameplay mechanics. And all you're really doing in Outlast is just running and hiding, running and hiding, and running and hiding. And one of the key gimmicks to Outlast is, you're a journalist, so you got this camcorder and it's got this night vision, and you can technically like record anything that you want throughout the game. And they don't really do anything with that. Like it would be kind of cool at the end of the game if like all your footage was stitched together into like a custom like found footage thing or something. But I think mechanically in terms of gameplay, like it doesn't really make a difference that it is a camcorder. It's like you could just also have like the supernatural power to see in the dark or have a flashlight, and like it wouldn't matter either way. What else about Outlast? I think just the villains are a little bit forgettable. I think Dr. Traeger is probably the coolest one. He sticks out the most. It's pretty much like a classic section of the game. But then you think of someone like the twins, and like a lot of people like don't even realize the twins are like the same recurring characters. They're like, is this just like another crazy naked psycho guy? And they're reusing the same model. Chris Walker, the hulking stalker enemy. He will just kind of he doesn't have anything supernatural about him. He's just a normal human, but he just teleports around to catch up with you. He just like you shimmy into a little skitty space in the wall, and he just like gives up. But then he'll like teleport to the other side of the building the next time you see him. And I just think Dead Space is a more fun game to play than Outlast. I'll concede the rest of my time.
All right. Great arguments, Caden. Justin, are you ready to talk some smack on Dead Space 2?
I
All right.
am, and I'm ready for you to start off as well.
Okay, so I'll be starting off as the assist trophy for Dead Space.
You gotta use Justin's side. You got it.
All right.
Quit hitting yourself. Quit hitting yourself.
Yeah. All right. I'm ready. So I'm going to start, and then once my 30 seconds is up, I will kick it right over to you. All right. So the great thing about Dead Space 1, it's rare that a video game having a silent protagonist is a good thing, but I think in Dead Space 1 it really worked to the advantage of the game. The sad thing about Dead Space 2 is they took that away, and now Isaac Clarke sounds like a bumbling moron. He's supposed to be the super savvy engineer, but instead he just goes to the story and just sounds like a layman, everyman type guy, and I feel like it works to the detriment of that game compared to the first game. Justin, go.
All right, so Dead Space 2, yes, it's great and all, but one of the things that I feel like it does and commits more of a sin than the first, obviously, is that it went from a horror franchise to a horror over-the-top action franchise. And while that is awesome in theory as far as a game goes and mechanically, I do feel like you do lose a lot of scares compared from Dead Space 1 to Dead Space 2. And the way I look at it is kind of like the equivalent, like in terms of how good the game got from the first to the second, it's kind of a big leap, like from Uncharted 1 to Uncharted 2, which is kind of what I've always said. Dead Space 2 is like the Uncharted 2 of its franchise. But again, I feel like you do lose some of that terror. And as in most horror games with weapons, when you get to a halfway point, you kind of become overbearingly powerful where it's not so scary anymore. And really the scares come from, well, what popped out at me and what surprised me around that corner versus literally fearing walking down a hallway. Whereas in, Outlast is kind of more like you said, you don't have a way to defend yourself. But that being said, Dead Space 2 also, I know this is kind of going to be fickle for certain people, but sometimes the space sci-fi stuff absolutely does nothing for anybody in certain aspects. Like, you have to really like sci-fi, I think, and it's kind of more of a catered to that audience, whereas an Outlast is kind of you're an everyman Joe in a regular everywhere, like, so you could imagine going into an asylum, being in an old abandoned place. You can't really imagine being in a
30
space
seconds.
station because those don't exist, unfortunately. Although I really wish they did. But other than that, again, I think the biggest folly for me is in Dead Space 2. It turns out to be you're more of an action star in a horror setting than in a horror game. And I'll concede the rest.
All right.
That was really hard for me, by the way.
Yeah.
Yeah, so just to clarify, we're not really trash talking any of these games. Everybody really loves both of these games. We're just trying to have a fun debate here.
100%.
So no shade on either of these games. Truly, we're just having fun here. So, all right, Caden, are you ready to finish up with your closing thoughts?
Yes, sir.
All right, Sal, whenever you're ready to count them down.
And we're doing 2 across the board, basically.
Yeah,
Yep.
2 minutes.
Overtiming you. Okay.
2 minutes. 2 minutes for him and 2 minutes for Justin.
All right. 3, 2, 1.
I just want to address the topic of scares in Dead Space 2. One thing that's really cool about Dead Space 2 is that nowhere's safe. You think about something like Resident Evil, where you have safe rooms where you know that if you make it to the safe room, you're good. But even rooms with save points in Dead Space, the necromorphs can come at you from any time. If you are able to escape a necromorph and lock a door between you and the necromorph is just going to crawl into the ventilation system, and every room has anywhere from like 2 to 6 vents in it. So that necromorph is coming for it. You're looking around the room and you see all these vents on the walls and ceiling, and you don't know which one it's going to come out of. So even though you know it's coming, you're still gonna get that jump scare when it jumps out of the vent. But I think what separates Dead Space 2 from other horror games is that you don't just get the jump scares, you also just get genuine fear. There's sections in this game where you go into zero gravity and you have to exit the space station and fly around in open space, where necromorphs that have the ability to maneuver in space can come at you from any direction. And during these sequences, you have no sound. All you can hear is the claustrophobic sound of Isaac breathing or screaming in pain inside of his own helmet. And there's no other noise besides that, which makes the necromorphs even scarier because they truly could be coming from anywhere, because you can't even use your 3D sound and your headphones, if you have or whatever, to even know where they're coming from. They could literally be coming from any direction. In terms of the game's difficulty, getting overpowered with your weapons halfway through, while that's true of normal mode, there's 2 modes that are higher difficulty above normal mode, where the resource management gets even scarcer. It truly does become a survival game. And it's like a nail-biting choice whether or not you should keep your ammo or you should sell it to be able to buy power nodes to upgrade your suit for more health. So if you want that difficulty and having to scrounge for ammo, it's there in higher difficulties. Dead Space 2 rules 10 out of 10. Thank you for your time.
Another perfect
All right.
end.
Yeah. Great wrap up, Caden. Very, very good. All right, Justin, you ready to wrap it up?
Yeah.
All right, bring it home.
3, 2, 1.
Okay, so yeah, I know there's a lot of dicks in Outlast, and maybe that's terrifying for some and not terrifying for others. I totally understand. But I did want to talk a little bit about the night vision mechanic. And while yes, fundamentally they don't use too much of that involving like a mechanic as far as like, does it really mean anything? It goes with the theme of the reporting, and it also goes as like you said, a flashlight mechanic. But it also, I think, adds to the tension, because when you're in a dark area and you're running low on battery, I mean, it's kind of one of those, I need to find batteries. I need this, because the game is just overall dark, and to its advantage. So in that regard, yes. And then, running from things, yes, it can get a little old, but ultimately, I feel that it always provides a good adrenaline kick. Now, it might be just, a minor part where you're like, okay, there's something there and I have to hide. But when there's those sequences that kick into high gear, which are kind of essentially set pieces, I mean, you're running for your life and you're kind of like, oh God, which way do I go and what do I do and how do I stop? And that could lead to you fumbling with your controller, and then next thing you know, the person gets you. And, maybe you get a wang in your face or not. I don't know. I can't remember 100%. But either way, it's scary. But it's just, it's a game that is unapologetically dirty, nasty, grungy, grimy. And for those that love that type of game, or that kind of more dark-esque style and vibe, it will very much hit that peak of scariness for folks. I do love a good game where you can fight back. It gives you that empowerment. But games where I can't fight back sometimes are absolutely terrifying because I have no option but to run and hide. And that is a very real thing that I can understand even in real life. So yeah, that's Outlast, baby.
All right. Great
Awesome.
wrap up. Great wrap up.
Sure.
All right. Very solid arguments from both sides. I love this debate. This was great. You guys both did an excellent job.
Just brought the heat.
Yeah, as per usual for our show, we'd like to get the input of the other panelists and see what they think of the debate. So I'm going to start with Jonah. Jonah, what did you think of the debate? Which way are you going to go?
It's it's so fun to just sit on the side and like listen to it without having to focus with like technical stuff. Dude, this was awesome. I've played both these games. They're both very terrifying games, but I'm gonna give my point to Justin, and the main point that Justin brought was in Dead Space 2, you do get overpowered, and I know King said there's hard difficulties and you can work around that, but there aren't difficulty settings in Outlast. So let's just say we're playing it on normal. If you're playing it on normal for both games, eventually Dead Space 2 becomes easier and a lot less scary because you are becoming this overpowered tank. So I do think if it comes down to just sheer terror of a game, I think Outlast is a better horror game.
Right. What do you think, Sal?
Yeah, I'm inclined to agree. I've played Dead Space 1 and 2 through and through a couple times, and I really enjoy them. I really love the ability to like save ammo, and the way the levels are laid out. You can kind of have the monsters chase you, and then you can use the environments to trap them or to lose them or whatever. But yeah, by the end of the game, you're kind of like, bring it on. And Outlast, on the other hand, well, yeah, I'm sure there's scripting going on in the background, and the guy teleports and whatnot. It's kind of cheesy. That game is scary, and I have not been able to finish it. I've not, and I do prefer the horror games where I can put up a fight, but I understand that within the confines of this game, what they were going for is a very script heavy, almost film-like experience, but you do have the option to approach it your own way. But yeah, scary team this game for sure.
All right. I think I am also going to go with Outlast and with Justin on this one.
Sorry, Cade.
And Ken, you did a great job representing Dead Space 2. The reason that I think I'm going to go with Justin in this case, I think Justin really focused his argument really on the horror itself, which you talked about, but not really until the closing statement, kind of wrapping up your thoughts on the game. A lot of what you talked about early on was how cool it was taking these guys on and impaling into the wall and exploding them, and it really kind of like brought the action portion of Dead Space kind of to the forefront, where we were really trying to talk about why is one game scarier than the other, and really talk about it was a horror debate. And so I feel like well, you did capture that kind of towards the end. Justin kind of brought it from the beginning and was really talking about kind of the horror and the scares throughout his debate. So for that reason, I think I'm gonna give it to Justin on my point. So
I felt like Justin's points were very dense. Like if you go back and play the tape, there's a lot of info in those 2 minutes. And it's accurate, I feel. From very good, good debating.
But both debates were great. I mean, like, honestly, like listening to Justin talk about Outlast doesn't make me want to play Outlast. Listening to what you said about Dead Space makes me want to play Dead Space. So, like, to me, like, I think you did a better job, like, making me like desire to play Dead Space too.
Nice.
But
get along.
But I think like Justin did like the horror aspect maybe a little bit more service. So.
My thoughts are the same. Is like right now I want to go play Dead Space. That sounds like a blast.
I'm scared of Outlast.
Right.
Yeah,
Exactly.
but, Outlast is just like no, man, I've done it already. I don't need to do it again.
All right, but we'll let the voters decide. So everybody, after you listen to this episode, go to the Cast Your Votes channel on the GGD podcast section of the Discord, and we'll have a vote up there. So in the meantime, let's go and check the results of the last debate, which was our Super Mario Sidekick debate. We had our guest Matt Storm representing Luigi versus our very own Sasiasi Steven representing Cappy from Super Mario Odyssey. And I gotta say, I don't know that I've ever seen quite as big of a blowout. There's some Luigi love going on, and we got 16-2 in favor of Luigi. So,
oh my god, it's more than when I checked last time.
It's-
Last time I checked, it was 12-2, and I was like, oh no.
it's pretty clear that everybody loves the Green Plumber, and it's nice to see the love there. Still, Steven did an amazing job in his debate, and I can't wait till he jumps into debate again, because that was just such a wholesome debate overall. I really feel like that was probably one of my, if not my favorite debates that we've ever done. Probably, it's very, very high up there. So, all right, with that, that's the end of the debate section. We are going to take a quick break and kick it back to Kid.
As always, a big thank you to our friend Misdriven for the music in our podcast. If you like what you hear and you want to check out more of what they have, you can pay them a visit on Twitter at MIST_RIVEN 719 or on Bandcamp at Misdriven. Thanks again for tuning in. Till next time.